good words about what Sula is all about. It is our real pleasure and pride to be about to be listed as India's only pure wine company. Definitely a matter of pride for us, and I want to thank all the gents here on the dais who've been part of this journey so far. I just wanted to go through a little bit of our presentation, and we'll take questions at the end of it, so we'll just go through this, get through this very quickly. It's now just over 20 years since I founded Sula in Nasik. At that time, there was barely any wine industry in India, and there was no wine being produced in Nasik. I can say that I have the privilege of having founded a wine region, the newest wine region in the world. Today, Nasik is really India's main wine region, with around 80% of India's wine being produced there. So it's really been something that I look back on this journey with a lot of pride. A quick look at the journey. 1996, I planted the first wine grape vineyards in Nasik. At that time, Nasik was already a table grape center. In fact, India is one of the top 4 table grape growing countries in the world. And I think I was the first person who asked that question. Why is it when we have so many table grapes that we can't have wine grapes and we can't produce good wine in India? And the answer to that was, actually there's no reason why we can't, just somebody has to do it first. So Sula was the first to do it. In 2000 we launched our first wines. We continued to be pioneers. In 2005 we opened the first wine tasting room at our Nasik winery, which has been a resounding success. Today this is the possibly the most visited vineyard in the world. Over 3 lakh visitors a year in the year just before the pandemic, and possibly the place where more people on this planet taste their first glass of wine than any other. In 2008, we launched Sula Fest, India's first wine-themed music festival. I was just asked by somebody outside when we're going to bring it back. Not sure about that at this point. We've had to stop because of the pandemic, but for sure, it was a way to bring wine to a much wider audience and mix music along with it. Music and wine have always gone well together, and it was a big success. In 2009, just after the financial crisis, Sula emerged for the first time as the market leader in Indian wine, and I'm happy to say that we have held on to that position and in fact cemented it since then until today. In 2012, we crossed 50% market share for the first time, and we have only built on that over the last few years. In 2016, our Shiraz Cabernet became India's top-selling wine. In fact, today, Sula has India's top-selling red wine, white wine, sparkling, rosé, and dessert wine. So pretty much we dominate every section of the market that way. In 2017, we acquired a winery in Karnataka, which is now our main production facility in Karnataka. Today, Sula does produce in Maharashtra as well as Karnataka for now. In 2019, as per Technopack, we crossed 60% market share in the more expensive wine segment, which is really where we have been focusing our energies over the last few years, and that is something that we expect to be doing in the future as well. In 2020, as Jaya said, we launched India's first wine in a can, Dia, and this is also a very exciting segment which we only see a growth ahead as people look for convenience in wine. In 2021, we acquired one more winery, that was the York Winery, just down the road from us in Nasik, which is already now developing into a tourism center. Quick look at some other facts. Some of these already spoke about. Financially, which I'm sure a lot of you are interested in, we have really tightened up our business over the last couple of years, and in FY22, we ended the year with a 25.6% EBITDA margin, and in H1, that has in fact gone further to 28%. So very strong financials. We are very proudly a profitable company and have been for most of the years of our existence. We have access to a large amount of wine vineyards, and the great thing in India is, in fact, there is, you can say, an infinite supply of vineyards. So Maharashtra itself has 1 lakh hectares of table grapes, and wherever you can grow table grapes, there you can also grow wine grapes. So right now there are only around 1,500 hectares of wine grapes, 1 lakh hectares of table grapes. Generally, when a grower takes out their table grapes, when it's reached the end of the life of the vineyard, that's when they replant with wine grapes. So as you can see, a great pipeline for wine grapes ahead. As I said, we are one of the world's most visited vineyards. We have a very strong focus on sustainability. That's something that I personally am very proud of. In fact, we are one of the most sustainable wine operations in the world. We are also members of the International Wineries for Climate Action, under which we've made a net zero pledge. We have 2.5 megawatts of our own solar panels installed in our own facilities, with something more than 55% today of Sula's energy needs coming from our own solar renewable. We're very proud of all this. This is just one of the things we do a lot more. We also like to think that we take great care of our people, and we were certified as a great place to work in calendar 21, which is something that we're very proud of. As we look out ahead, we really believe in this wine story in India. We see India as being one of the world's most important growth markets for wine in the decades to come. And we do believe that the consumption has the potential to grow multiple times. If you take a look at our wine consumption, it's less than 1% of alcohol. And the world average consumption of wine is something closer to 13%. So as you can see, when you compare to the world, we have a long way to go. And even if you look across at China, for example, probably more comparable compared to Europe, China consumes something like 10 to 15 times the amount of wine that India does. When you look at a country like the UK, and this is interesting because UK, like India, started out being very much a spirits consuming country. In fact, I would say that the British were the ones who taught us to consume spirits and nothing else. And today, the UK is very much also a wine consuming country. And that has been their journey. Of course, over the last couple of 100 years, our journey is a bit more compressed, but it just shows that there is no reason why a country that people see as being a spirits-loving and spirits-consuming country, there is actually nothing intrinsic in that. That doesn't mean that wine consumption, beer consumption, which is already, of course, started happening, and then wine consumption cannot grow. And that is what we are looking forward to. Many factors. One of the most important ones today is the popularity of wine among women, specifically women in the metros at this point. We all know that just one generation ago, actually very, very few women would ever drink. If you look at my mother's generation, but things have changed very rapidly, especially in the big cities today, and increasingly young, independent women find it's absolutely socially acceptable for them to have a drink with their colleagues after work, for instance, and a lot of them reach for wine, and a lot of that wine that they reach for is Sula. So this is a huge factor, and this is only going to accelerate in the years to come as it moves beyond the metros to tier 1 cities. There's a growing awareness about wine. You just note 10, 15 years ago, there was hardly any awareness about wine. But today, most of you will note that you see wine everywhere, at events, at social functions, on wine lists. You have such a proliferation of standalone restaurants today, and so many of them have to have a wine list. There's also been a lot of increase in home consumption. This was a trend that accelerated during the pandemic. Obviously, people could not go out, and you saw that in many households where traditionally they did not consume at home. alcobev and wine started coming into the house. Wine is usually a little more acceptable than spirits in some milieux. There's been a lot of premiumization among consumers, and wine has been one of the beneficiaries of this. There's also growing perception of health benefits. I'm sure most of you have read articles, studies talking about the health benefits of wine. I'm not going to necessarily say whether those are right or wrong, but for sure there are more than enough studies that do show the health benefits of wine, and definitely a lot of people do take notes of that. The growth of wine tourism, of course, Sula has been the main driver of this, but just to put it in perspective, this year we expect to do over 1 lakh specific tastings with consumers at our winery, and just our single winery in Nasik. So when you think about it, compared to the number of people who are drinking wine today, you can see it's a huge number. And I think a large number of those people leave the winery being consumers, of wine and being brand ambassadors for Sula. And favorable regulations, we have had very favorable regulations in the states of Karnataka and Maharashtra, and more states are starting to look at low alcohol as being preferential to spirits, and we're starting to see that more and more. And that has led to industry growth. So wine's CAGR has been much higher than spirits and beer in the 5 years from 14 to 19, and is expected to be much higher in the year starting now or last year. And we're seeing that already in what's happened over the last couple of years. So just a quick look at the wine market by volume. And also interestingly, within the wine segment, more and more of that share is going to the more premium segment. And that bodes really well for us, because people are starting to reach for more expensive Indian wines, which is a trend that is going to be very good for all Indian wine companies in the future. Being much faster than much higher than the rest of them. Quick look at our key strengths and strategies. So Sula's key strengths: we've been the established market leader now for over a decade, and we have by far the most recognized wine brand in India, by far and away the consumer's choice. We've been the leaders and pioneers of the wine tourism business here, which is of course also a very big part of our success. We have an operation, especially at Nasik, and now also in Karnataka, just outside Bangalore. So that's our second one, also at York, which is far ahead of all the rest of the wine tourism in India put together. We are the largest wine producer by quite some margin, and we have the biggest portfolio, and we have a very wide portfolio across all kinds of wines and also across all price points. So in Maharashtra, for example, our cheapest wine starts at 270 rupees and goes all the way up to around just below 2,000 rupees. So it's quite a wide range. All those segments, that is elite, premium, economy, and popular, Sula is the market leader across the country in all segments. We have the largest wine distribution network. As you can imagine, building a distribution network for alcobev in India, not the easiest thing, but Sula has managed to do it. And as Jaya was saying, we're in 25 states today, and hoping to even open 1 or 2 more soon. There are very high barriers of entry in this business. It's not so easy. Most of you must know somebody who has at some point opened a restaurant or an eatery, but opening a winery is a little bit of a different business. I mean, where do you start? So I would say that some pretty high barriers of entry just from starting to persuade farmers to plant grapes for you, not so easy, to putting up the winery itself and making good wine. So we have a secured supply of raw material. We typically have 12 to 15 year contracts with our grape growers. They are very happy. We've never had a dispute with any of our grape growers. These long-term contracts is something that Sula pioneered, a direct payment from company to grape grower, no middleman in the middle, and so the amount of remuneration that a farmer gets per acre of grapes is generally far excess of anything else that they can hope to make. And therefore we have a line of farmers out the door asking us if they can plant for us. We had a very early adoption and focus on sustainability, and today that's really paying rich dividends. We have been the category creator, and this just shows a little bit of the market share with over 50% market share, and we're winning lots of international awards just in the last couple of years. So we continue to win more and more awards. I want to call our attention to the first one there, our Brut Tropical. For the first time, an Indian wine won a gold medal at the International Wine Challenge just this year in 2022. Tasting sessions across the country. In FY22, 85,000. As I said, this year it's like over a lakh of tastings. Find at least one bottle of Sula available there. The wine tourism. What's very important about it is this is a place where we can do a direct tasting with our consumer, and they can buy right there. So it's a great D2C channel where we basically sell our most expensive wines, and the people who buy there, taste there, become our brand ambassadors. We all, which have been very successful, and basically what we do there, they're really wine-themed resorts. So you go and you live in this beautiful countryside, you see these beautiful vineyards, and that's been a big growth business for us, extremely profitable, and everybody who comes there has a great wine experience. As I said, we are the leaders across all the categories. The Indian wine market is categorized into elite, premium, economy, and popular. Elite being around 1,000 rupees plus, and that's really where we dominate. Today, we are by far and away the market leader in elite, the market leader in premium, also economy and popular. Of course, there tend to be a lot of wineries who also have products in the popular range, so that's not something that we are as focused on right now and for the future. And we have a plethora of brands available at every price point, thus filling up the shop shelves. Over 140 lakh liters, and we are right now working on a big new wine cellar as well that will enhance our capacity further. And we've been the first in so many ways to bring in new winemaking methods here, and that is one of the reasons why our wines today, I would say, were really the first Indian wines that the consumer said, wow, these wines, they taste really good and they're at a really good price point. That's something that Sula is really proud of, making the best tasting wine at every price point. That's really our goal. We were the first to introduce a lot of varietal wines. Those of you who are wine drinkers will recognize the corporation's 23,000 points of sales. Today, our business is, if you look at the breakup, retail is more than 70%. On-trade is around 30%. During the pandemic, of course, the share of retail went higher, and so we really dominate at that place where the consumer has real choice, which is retail. The future. I don't know if you can see that picture. That's a real picture of our Nasik vineyard. You can see that every inch of roof space is plastered with solar panels. That just shows you our focus on sustainability. We generated over 3 million kilowatt hours of solar energy at our own facilities in FY22. And we do rainwater harvesting in all our facilities. Over 96% of our packaging material is sourced locally, so we are very much a very proud Make in India, Made in India business. Distinguished Chairman Mr. Chetan Desai right here, and Mr. Alok Vajpayee, our non-executive independent director. So I have a great board to draw on with years of experience and a lot of great advice, and a very strong management team, most of whom have been with us for quite a few years and really know their job. What have we really focused on over the last couple of years that have really worked for us and taken our EBITDA margin to a totally different level and cemented our market share? We're going to continue to focus on that. At the end of the day, we're going to focus on wine and we're going to focus on India. These are the two main points. We're not going to dabble for the next couple of years at least in things like craft spirits, etc. Wine is our business. We know it really well. We know it better than anyone else in India. We already other market leaders. We want to penetrate further into the country. We want to increase awareness. We want to increase consumption. That is going to be our strategy. We did have a pretty big import business. One of the things we decided during the pandemic was that really we should be focusing much more on our own business. That's really where the greater value is created. So the percentage of our own brand revenue has gone up a lot in our mix over the last couple of years, where the percentage of third brand revenue has really come down, and that's something that is probably going to continue for the near future. Grab the water, please, excuse me. Your attention to especially the H1 of FY23, which is the last column. I think it's a little bit difficult to see it over here, but I'm talking about 40% growth from H1 of last year. I want to caution all that, of course, we do have a comparative year. Q1 of last year was very much pandemic hit, but just gives some good indication for FY23. If you look at the top right side, you'll see that in terms of business segments, third-party brands and distribution used to be 31%. That has come down to less than 8% in FY22. And that just shows what we are doing. Our own brands, on the other hand, have gone from 63.6% to close to 84% in FY22, just over 2 years. So Sula today is very much about Sula's own brands. Sula, Rasa, Dindori, The Source, Madeira, Dia, Samara, these are some of the brands in our portfolio. Financial metrics, EBITDA is something that I think the whole team is very proud of the work that's been done over the last couple of years. Big jump in our margin from 15% was where we generally used to be at over the last 8-10 years, 12 to 15%. And today we've clearly gone on a different trajectory, close to 22 at 25%. And in H1 of 23, things have improved even further. And that leads to strong profit after tax as well, improved metrics across the board, return on capital, return on equity, and also our debt has been going down, and today our leverage ratio is very comfortable. Just have around 200 crores of debt, even less at the end of this year. So much, of course, we'll be taking questions in a bit.